Hello, Assalamu alaikum. Can you hear me?
Assalamualaikum. Yeah, I can hear you.
Amazing. How was Eid?
It was good, alhamdulillah. How about you?
Yeah, it was fine. Thank you for asking. Okay, so we're starting with sociology. I just have a few questions before I start with the whole thing. Okay, so part one is that are you giving it in October, November, or May, June?
Well, the goal is October, November. Yeah.
Okay, makes sense. Right. And are you familiar with the course or like have you done it in school or are you doing it private? So are you not familiar with it?
No, I've done it in school.
Okay, great. That's amazing. Right. Okay. So I just wanted to know also the meeting is on record. Okay. So it's already recording. I just wanted to know if you guys use a specific book. So, or do you have a course book or do you just study from notes?
We have a specific note, like a textbook. Yeah.
Okay. So is it the Jonathan Blundell, like the blue one? Is it
No.
this? What?
It's. I think it's from the Collins. I think.
Okay, I will need you to. So the one I use is this one. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is Cambridge IGCSE as well.
Do you mind if
Um.
I share my screen and show you the one I used?
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. That'd be
Okay.
great.
1 second. It's not allowing me to share my screen
Okay.
because
Wait. Yeah. I'll have to switch that. Wait.
yeah.
Check now.
Oh no, it's no. It says host has disabled attendee screen sharing.
On my end, it says that they're allowed to share the screen.
No, it's saying for me that you need to stop sharing my screen so that I can share it.
Okay. Okay. Wait. Then I have
Yeah.
to stop.
Okay.
Done.
Okay, there we go. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is the
So
book that I used.
okay, okay, you use Collins. Right, okay. All right. So you'll have to tally something with me. Okay, let me just find this so we can tally the index. Collins, AQA, IGCSE, Sociology. Sorry, it's just loading. I'm loading the PDF so we can tally the syllabus with the syllabus guide as well, which I'll share, of course. So we're on the right track.
Okay, no
Right.
worries.
Okay. So, from what I have found, this is the book and the student book, and this is what the syllabus is, right? And this is GCSE. So, what I was thinking was IGCSE. That's why there was a conflict there, but that's okay. Um, right. Okay. So, let me just share the syllabus guide for GCSE then. This is AQA, Sociology, GCSE syllabus. Yeah, there's this conflict. I'll explain to you what I mean. So from what you can see here is the first one is what is sociology and social structures, processes, and issues and key concepts, socialization, Karl Marx, etc., etc. This is
Yes.
what this book says, right? So, but when you search the syllabus for GCSE, that's exactly what I find with IGCSE as well, which is basically the sociological approach. So this is basically AQA only,
Yeah.
and it's telling me that it's
I had one
sociological.
question. Sorry to interrupt
Yeah,
you. What is there like a specific difference between AQA IGCSE sociology and AQA GCSE sociology?
that's exactly what I'm saying. That yes, there is, but then that's the thing. Like, I think that's the code that's falling in the difference here. So because AQA is like Cambridge, under Cambridge comes IGCSE, and then IGCSE is basically the holistic idea. But then there's AQA, then there's EdXL, and then there's Cambridge. So that's the slight difference. But let me just put 9-1 because that seems like a okay. So um, look, even here the subject content is this compared to what it is in the book. Okay, you can't see my screen. Let me just share my window so you know what I'm doing here.
I can see your
Uh,
screen.
yeah, you can't see what I'm actually showing. Right. So this is your book, and then this is what I was. What? Okay, yeah. Never mind. Let me see if this has it. Look, even here, the again it says families first, which is the syllabus that we actually study. So it's paper one and paper two. But it's okay. Let's just okay here. Just let me see if the format is here with the columns. Okay. Well, we're just gonna start with the book, right? So we're gonna start with whatever it's saying, and then we're gonna figure out. I'm gonna figure out the paper pattern and everything, because I want to make sure that this is same as IGCSE or a little different. Because if it's the same, then the syllabus is a little different. So that's why I just want to
Yeah,
make sure. Otherwise,
because
it's
I
always
think,
just
yeah, I think I'll also, we can continue the class as it is, but I think I'll also confirm with you because right now I'm taking all IGCSE subjects and I didn't really realize that the sociology that I'm taking right now is GCSE. So I'll have to confirm with you on that as well.
okay. Because this is the like what I opened was the book I opened was IGCSE only, but then you showed me this, so this is GCSE as it says it. So
Yeah.
I just want to make sure that if the paper pattern same, because it's like paper one, paper two, and then you have got your options in paper two. So all of that things I need to just make sure of that. Well,
Okay.
we're gonna obviously get to that, but this is something that would be required for IGCSE or GCSE, which is knowing what is sociology. So we're gonna start with that. So generally, when you look at sociology, is when you is it is looking at society, and when I say looking at society, it does not mean just physically looking at society, right? It does not mean looking at the roads or the people or the buildings or the infrastructure, any sort of thing that you're looking at. It also means looking at the values of society, looking at the culture of society, looking at the norms of society. Now, what all of those terms mean is something that you will obviously figure out within sociology. However, the main aspect of what sociology is to know what is society basically, right? So when we talk about society, we can, when I say that you live in a society, so you can actually think of houses, cars, roads, infrastructure, buildings, etc. But you will never be able to think, okay, a society also means so much more than that. If a society means how each and every group or each and every person is functioning in a particular area, so all of those things matter. So when I say society, that regards to everything around you, in the slightest and tiniest of details as well. So not everything just physical around you. So like right now I'm sitting in my room, and even if I open my camera for you right now, so you will be able to see that I've got if I just look around, so I've got a dressing and I've got a cupboard at the back. So that's something that's around me, right? But then that's not what I really want to focus on, because when I talk about sociology, it goes beyond that, in the sense that I want to see that within these things around me, what matters, and within these things around me, just to pinpoint how people function, right? So if I'm a person, I am probably just getting up and dressing up in front of my table. But then how am I functioning will also be counted as something that is contained in sociology. So as it says, sociology is the study of human social life and social relationships. So it is a lifelong study. It's not like that sociology will end once you've grown up and you've figured out what society is. It's not going to end. It's a lifelong process of learning the culture of the society. That is the definition that you will follow throughout. I'm going to write it in the chat. So it is the lifelong process of learning the culture of society. And when I mean society, it does not just mean where the place you are living in. Societies vary. So if I am living in Pakistan right now, so that's one society. Maybe Karachi is just one society. Clifton is another minor part of that society. So it varies. So me living in Clifton, that is an area, right? So that's one society for me. And then moving ahead to Karachi, that'd be another. And then whole of Pakistan, that'd be another. And then what if I move to the UAE? That's another society. So it does not stop anywhere. It's a lifelong process of learning the culture of society. Sociologists investigate and explain the social world and our behavior in it. This involves explaining how people live together in society and how they interact with each other in small groups, communities, and large organizations. Sociologists try to understand not only the ways in which society influences us in our daily lives, but also the ways we shape society. So, what they're saying over here is that when you talk about society, so like we said, every single thing counts. So, the people, how people interact with each other, that counts. How people interact with communities, how people interact in groups, all of those things count. And not the society does not just shape us as human beings, but us as human beings also shape society. So because we exist in a society, that is why that society is going forward. So that is us shaping the society. But at the same time, it goes vice versa. Because the society exists, we are living in it. So it's a give and take relationship. We give to the society because society takes from us. We take from the society because society gives to us. So it's like a whole circle that we're moving around. Because let's say if there is a society and people are living in it, the way we interact with those people, now that's something that the society is giving us. But us interacting is something that we are giving the society in order to make sure that the decorum is maintained, that the consensus, which is basically peace, is maintained, which is something that the functionalists believe, which we will obviously move ahead to get. So they've given us an example, and they said that in Britain, people tend to think of themselves as unique individuals who make their own free choices about most aspects of their life. For example, teenagers make choices about their friends, their clothes, and the music that they listen to. People also choose whether to marry and what career to pursue. Sociologists are interested in the ways that choices may be constrained or limited by factors such as our social class background, gender, and ethnicity. They are also interested in the ways that our choices may be enabled or helped by such factors. Now, what they're saying is that from society to society, because there are factors that vary, that factors that differentiate between societies, because of that, societies are different. So, if all of the societies were same, that there would be no basically interest, right? So, there would be no different societies. If there were people who were born and they were all living the same life, it would be just one big society. There would not be a use of having 200 different societies basically, right? So what is something that makes society different is the factors within people's personalities, within people's lives. So for example, they've given us social class background, right? So that basically means what social class do I belong from. So there within society there are stratas, there are different blocks. So one block might belong to the upper middle class, whereas the other block might just belong to elite. So elite are rich, powerful people. Upper middle class is a little lower than them. Then we've got middle class. Then we've got lower middle class. Then we've got poor people. So all of these differentiated factors make society what it is, because obviously if everybody was on the same level, there would be nothing to do, there would be no conflict. But because everybody is on different levels, that is what differentiates society. So for example, how can we say that a certain country is third world? By looking at people's social class backgrounds, by looking at their living standards. Now living standards and social class background in this case, in the third world country basis, becomes a differentiating factor. Okay, so when we when we say when a first world country, again we're looking at their social class background, we're looking at their living standards, they're living better, so that becomes a differentiating factors between societies. Are we following?
Yes.
Amazing. Right. So that's one. Then they've given gender, right? So gender is basically how a person identifies themselves. So sex is basically female and male, but then gender is basically how a person identifies themselves. So they can identify themselves as whatever they wish, basically as of right now, whatever they wish, right? So initially it used to be girl, boy, male, female, bisexual, um, heterosexual, homosexual, all of those. But now, as of right now, with the society growing, look, again, it's the society that is growing that has made people have all of these choices. So with society growing, they can identify as anything that they want to. So that would be gender. And ethnicity is basically what ethnic background am I from? So am I a Pakistani? Am I a Kuwaiti? Am I an American? Am I British? All of those will be ethnicity. Why? Again, when God was creating us, he wasn't thinking that okay, this person's going to be British or this person's going to be American, right? He was just creating us, right? But because society has grown over time, all of these differentiating factors have existed. So initially there might just be just one ethnicity, which grew into so many more, right? So after the First World War, there were so many differentiations and so many more ethnicities. So all of those things count. So because those now have become differentiating factors within society. So what makes one society different from the other society? It's people, and how it's people with their social class background, with their genders, with their ethnicity. Right. Now they're saying that sociologists study a wide range of topics. So obviously, when you look at society, as I said, it's a very holistic agency. It's a huge thing. It's unlimited, right? So there are a lot of things that within a society, right? So you have the media within the society. Now that is not just watching TV. That is not just watching the news. It is the internet. It is all of the apps that your country has developed. So we know that the Americans have developed Apple. Okay, we know that Bill Gates has developed Microsoft. Again, all of that is going to come with the media. That is what your society will be known for. We know crime there. We know that in all of the third world countries, be it Pakistan, be it Bangladesh, be it Afghanistan, there is a lot of crime, right? So a society is also known through that. Each society has its own level of crime, its own crime. So maybe in Pakistan there might be a lot of stealing, but compared to India, where there might be a lot of rape cases. So the crime also varies from society to society. Then again, religions and secularization. So religions, we already know what religions is, what we believe in, what we follow, basically. So that also varies from society to society, and every society has their own religion to study. And secularization means the dispersion or the evaporation or the ending of religion. So there are many societies where there is no religion anymore, right? So they're atheists, they do not have a religion to follow. So even studying that aspect of society, all of these things will come under sociology. Families and family life. So there is not just one kind of family in society. There's nuclear family, there's extended family, there's single parent family, there are dual sex families, which means same sex families, because with the again society is growing, we have same sex families, we have two moms, okay, we have lesbian couples. All of those things are very normal now. Again, another thing that varies from society to society is education and work. So again, even right now we were figuring out IGCSE, GCSE, AQA. All of those things vary from society to society. So for example, if you look at Pakistan, we do not offer AQA, right? So that also varies from society to society. Then we have poverty and wealth. Again, poverty and wealth, uh, as I said, the social class backgrounds, when they differ, all of these things differ as well. So for example, from someone from UAE would be way into real estate compared to someone who, where for someone in Pakistan who, where real estate is not that big a thing. So again, that will also vary from poverty and wealth. Then again, social class inequality. There might be equal rights for many societies where compared to other societies where there's no equality there. Gender inequality, ethnicity, and racism. So ethnicity, there's a lot of, like for example, even with us, there's Shia and Sunni ethnicity problems. There's a lot of racism. So with the race is when you are known with by the color of your skin. So race could be African people are known as black people, right? Americans are known as white people. Where Pakistanis and Asian people are known as brown people. So you're known by the color of your skin. Then there's aging and ageism. So, for example, in China, there's a lot of dependent population. There's a lot of old people. So again, that is also something that varies from society to society. The age limit. So, for example, people in Pakistan die way earlier than people in China. Disability, health and illness, all of these things vary from society to society, and they are a part of each and every society, which is why they will need to be studied throughout sociology. Are we following?
Yes. Yeah.
Amazing. Then we have the sociological approach. So it says sociology involves a distinctive way of seeing the social world. It focuses on how society influences our behavior and the choices we make. In doing so, it's important. It asks us important questions about human life, groups, and society. So again, here are some examples. So how do family relationships change over time? Why are some people obsessed with finding fame through reality TV? So this is coming under media. This is coming under family. What causes urban riots? This is coming under inequality. What role do social media play in organizing demonstration? Again, media. Why don't all apprentices complete their training programs? Education. Why do girls perform better than boys at GCSE? Education. Do the police and courts, again, this is crime. Are females more likely? This is gender inequality. So all of these questions arise when you're looking at a family. Does, basically how many, what's the sorry, when you're looking at a society, sorry, when you're looking at a society, all of these things arise, or all of these questions arise, that what kind of family structure is there, what kind of media is there, what kind of equality or inequality is there, all of those things. So when sociologists try to answer such questions, they do not take anything at face value. So they basically look into the details, they go into the investigation, and those, that is why sociologists are known to have studies. Why are they called sociologists? Because they study something in mere detail and they find things out. So there are mere theories, that if someone said that this is happening, so if I say that today, nowadays, the concept of marriage has, diluted. It's not that famous anymore. It's not that supported anymore. So a sociologist will be like, okay, you know what? That's just a theory. She might as well be wrong. So let me just study it. Let me see if that's right or wrong. So that is why there's all of these studies and their results and everything. Um, Okay, so a body of terms and concepts that they have built up. This is what they're telling that what sociologists use basically. So they use these differentiated terms, a body of theories, that's what they use, a toolkit of research methods. Now, research methods is also something that you'll be looking into. Uh, as I said, when you're studying a theory that is presented by somebody, then you obviously have to conduct a study or a research. And in order to conduct a research, there are a lot of ways you can conduct a research. So you have to pinpoint and decide what way are you going to choose in order to conduct a research and follow through on that. So all of those ways also have differentiated processes. So again, they're saying that it's not all about carrying out research. They're saying many sociologists believe that research should go, etc., etc. So they say, they argue that findings from research studies should feed into policy making, shape society policies. So they're saying that the research shouldn't just be to prove a theory right or wrong, but it should also be implemented, and it should also convince people, and it should become a social policy. It does not just have to be testing a theory. It has to be more than that. It should, if it's something that is helping, then it should shape rules and regulations within a society as well. Are we following?
Yes.
Amazing. So right, so they're talking about sociology, psychology, and journalism. So that's basically looking at the relationship basically. So as sociology is the study of society, psychology is the study of human brain or human psyche, So you will only know what is going on in society once you know what is going on in the human brain. So every single time you conduct a research, that is done through a psychological process. So you have to go through a psychological process in order to conduct a research. So if you're choosing to conduct an interview, that will need to be by the regulations and rules set by psychology itself. And then journalism is recording. So once you have figured out what you want to study in society, you will start from psychology of human behavior, and then you will look and record that, so that will count under journalism. So the key points, like the definitions that they've given us here, so this is something that I wrote down in the chat as well. Sociology is the systematic study of human life, groups and societies. And then they're saying sociologists ask questions about the workings of society. So this is again the question that they need to answer over time by conducting studies. And then they're saying through their research, sociologists contribute to the knowledge and understanding of society. And now they've just given us a small question, which is identify and describe one possible use of sociological research. So you, again, the answer is right here, for to contribute to the knowledge and understanding of society, or to answer the questions that rise by within time goes by, or within a society grows. Are we clear? Are we following till here?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, amazing. Right, so that's just the introduction as to what sociology is and what we'll be looking at throughout the chapters. We've got chapter 1 and topic 2. So that is basically what are social structures and processes and issues, right? So within a society, as I said, that when we were looking at social class backgrounds, so we were looking at stratas. Now, what are stratas? Stratas are the building blocks of society. That means that there are different sectors of society, different blocks of society that actually make a society, right? So if people is one, family is one, media is one, all of these things all together make society, and that is why it's called the social structure of society. And then they're talking about processes and issues that also exist within a society, right? So it's saying in investigating society or how it is organized, sociologists examine the various parts that make up society. So again, those are the starters, those are the building blocks, those are all of the things that make up society, that makes a society what it actually is. They use the term social structures to refer to the parts of society such as families, education system, political system, and criminal justice system. So what we're going to do is, just to make our life a little easier, I hope you can see my window. We're just going to
A second.
make, okay, great. We're just going to make a pointed list as to what social structure includes. So we will write family, media, education, religion. So what else did we have here? They said crime. Okay, this is basically the 5 major ones that you need to remember. And this, when you look at them, they just seem like words within society. But the thing is, like within family, there are at least 12 types of family. Within media, there's so much that has happened throughout the media. So the growth of media. Same with education system, so much growth. When you look at religion, so much secularization, ending of religion, evaporation of religion. And most importantly, when you look at political system and crime, so all of that also includes, how we have monarchy in some countries. For UK, so there's queen, there's king, for example. Yeah, so that's UK. But then when you look at so for even for Saudi, we've got Mohammed bin Salman, right? So MBS is the king basically. Even for Turkey, we've got that. So but and then some countries we've got democracy, right? So all of those things are also counted within the system of society. And this is what all of things that social structure will include and will be studying about, we'll be studying about. Right, okay. Sociologists are also interested in exploring social processes such as socialization and social control. Now, socialization is basically, it's divided into 2 areas, primary and secondary. Socialization is when you learn the culture of society, okay? So that is a person learning what society is called socialization. So when you are born, your parents start to teach you how to behave. That is socialization. So how to be in a society, how to live in a society, the process of learning that is called socialization, right? So we can write that down so we know that process of learning how to live in a society is called socialization, basically. Now this is the basic terminology behind it. And when we talk about social control is how you basically make sure that people are behaving in the right way. So what is the way to make sure that everybody's behavior is regulated, everybody's behavior is appropriate? So making sure that people behave appropriate to the societal standards is your social control. Are we clear? I'm gonna shed more light on this, but
Yes.
general definitions. Okay, amazing. So socialization refers to the process by which we learn the culture or the way of life of the society we are born into. In exploring how this process operates, sociologists focus on how learn the culture, etc., etc. So obviously, how do you learn how to live in a society? How do you learn more about the society or the culture of society? Is through primary and secondary socialization. So when I talk about primary socialization, that is through your parents. So from the ages from 0 to 4, when you're not going to school, that is when your parents are teaching you every single thing that you are doing in life, right? Your parents or your siblings or your immediate family, basically. So all of that comes under primary socialization, even if it's just a nanny, okay? All of that will come under primary socialization. Compared to secondary socialization, that is when you step out of the house. So you are now out of your roof, and now you are going out in the real world, which you will learn what happens there. Now that is your secondary socialization, that happens in school, that happens in your workplace, that will happen throughout your life, where you will keep learning something or the other about society, about people's behaviors, about interactions, and that will be called your secondary socialization. Compared to social control, where says that refers to the way our behavior is regulated. In exploring how this works, sociologists ask questions about how control is exercised, who exercises control, and how far individuals or groups resist the challenge, the processes of social control, and whose interest social control operates. So again, how are you socially controlling an individual? How, through socialization, are you making sure that there is control? Who is making sure that there is control? So the police is making sure there is control, the parents are making sure there is control, the principal is making sure there is control. So there's a PPP, police, parents, principal. So this is just the basics, okay? And how far is there control in society? So for example, there are societies that are uncontrollable, there are things that are happening that are not in control of anybody. Now that also exists. And why is the social control taking place? What for, right? So that is also an important part of social control that you will obviously learn throughout the topic. Now they're talking about social issues. Social issues again are social problems. What are the problems within society? What are the problems between communities? What are the problems between education groups? What are the problem between families? All of those things would be coming under social issues. So for example, rape cases, forced marriages, lack of awareness for contraceptives, lack of awareness for condoms, all of these things will come under social issues. Again, social problems, again, racism, sexism, ageism, poverty, domestic violence, crime, all of this is coming under social issues that the society deals with in their own way. So for example, if there is sexism in our society, I am not sure if it will be dealt with that well. For example, if it's in US, then I'm pretty sure that there are going to be agencies set that will deal with it. For example, if there's hate crime, I'm pretty sure there are going to be anti-bullying agencies set. There's going to be police, there's going to be the sheriff department working on it as well. So all of that also varies from society to society, and they need to be tackled through social problems, social policies. These social problems need to be tackled through social policies, basically social rules, social regulations, which comes from social control. Are we clear?
Yes.
Amazing. So now they've broken it down. So they've said that the social structure, they've given us an example of the social structure families, and they're talking about the social processes that it basically performs. So the family performs socialization, because it teaches the kid how to live in a society. Then it performs social control, so it regulates behavior of a kid. And then the exercise of power, because obviously parents are in power, so they will show you the exercise of power, how to be in power. And the social issues that exist within the family is the quality of parenting will be, might be lacking, people might just be focused on work and stuff. Forced marriages, so forced marriages might not end with a very happy family. Care of the elderly, now that is something that is not done in each and every family. They might be seen as the dependent population, and they might not be taken care of. Relationships between parents and children, now all of these issues exist within a family, or can exist within a family. Then we look at education system, that's another social structure. So the social processes, it does socialization because it teaches a person how to live their life within a society. Social control, so it regulates behavior. The exercise of power. Then there's labeling theory is another thing, that you are labeled. For example, if you are labeled as the backbencher, which means that you need to improve your behavior, so it is technically in telling you what to do, how to live, how to improve. Discrimination, high achievers, low achievers, that is also a part of education system. So that is also a social process that is practiced within education system. Social issues would be educational reform, obviously how education has grown different, it's now different. Higher education funding is another issue. Academies, again another issue. Social structure, then comes the criminal justice system, again it does control. Social order is basically to maintain order in society, to make sure that there's no disorder in society, so no riots, no um, protest, all of these things. Again, discrimination, labeling will come under this as well. The social issues to do with criminal justice system is that there's violent crime, there's media coverage of these crimes, there's young offenders, and then the prison system, which needs to be taken care of course. um, Another thing I want to mention here is that when you're looking at sociology, or when you're looking at society, or when you're looking at any of these things, social structures, social processes, social issues, the first thing you think of is your own society. But you always need to have a more holistic approach. You can't just be thinking about your own society, because that is not what's going to aid your point of view basically. So if, for example, if I keep thinking about Pakistan, right, so there are so many family issues. There is no good parenting. The education system is not good at all, okay, except for a few schools and universities. Criminal justice system is awful, okay. And social stratification system, there's so much ethnicity problem, there's so much homophobia, there's so much poverty. So when I look at it from my perspective, from my society, everything's awful. So that is why I need to have a more neutral perspective, where I look at every single society. So that is something that is difficult to do, but you always have to have a more holistic approach. You need to pause and be like, okay, yeah, you know what, I have to focus on that as well. So that is one thing. Then we're talking about social structures, which in which they're talking about the social stratification system. So again, this includes discrimination, the exercise of power, and globalization. Now globalization is basically the world becoming smaller. Now, not smaller geographically, smaller because of the media, because people are so easily able to communicate. So if I want to talk to someone who's in Canada right now, I can just make a call. If I want to send something to someone who's in Canada right now, I just have to go to FedEx, and I gotta say, please, can you just send this? So that is, world coming closer, people coming closer together through globalization. So not geographically, but in every other way, that is globalization, because the society is becoming one. Everybody knows every single thing because of the media. So that is globalization. That is one social process that happens through social stratification, through social division, because now globalization is ending that, it is eliminating that, and bringing everybody closer together. um, Social issues is obviously inequalities linked to class, gender, ethnicity, sexuality, racism. All of these are social issues, which you will get into details. Um, right, so this is just an activity. Are we clear till here?
Yes.
Okay, just 1 second. I'm looking at a. Right, okay. Okay, we're just gonna do this as the last thing. So again, within society, there's key concepts. The first one is culture. So within a culture, what is culture? So culture is basically your way of life in society. So everybody's way of life in society is different. My culture may be a way different than your culture. Why? Because the way of life is different. The differentiation in the way of life, that is your culture. It includes the values, norms, customs, beliefs, knowledge, skills, and language of a society. So how does a way of life differ? It differs because of the values, it differs because of the norms, it differs because of the customs, because of the beliefs, because of the knowledge, because of the skills, and because of the language of a society. So language is one most easiest thing. So for example, if you speak in Arabic, that is one differentiating factor between our way of life. So that is one differentiating factor between our culture. So that is one thing. Now what values mean is that things that we um, value and somebody else might not value. So for example, if as Muslim countries we value the celebration of Eid, now that is a value that we're following. Compared to someone who's living in Britain, they wouldn't follow that through. Okay, so that is a value that we've got, and we're following through on that because of the way our life is. So the whole way of our life, so based on our culture, we follow these values. Then there are norms. Norms are basically things that you've been practicing for so long within the culture that they become normal. So for example, I'll give you an example for like shadis that happen here. So for example, in a wedding, in a Pakistani wedding, I'm not sure if you know this, but there is this thing called juta chupai, where you basically just hide the groom's shoes, and then you ask the groom for cash. Okay, give us cash and we're going to give you your shoes back, otherwise you can't leave. Do you know about that?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, so that's a norm. Now that's not something that you came with the rule book that okay, you have to do this when you go into the world. It wasn't like that. It is just something that people have been doing for so long that it has now become a norm, like it's become normal. So norm comes from the word normal. So now because it has been so normalized that everybody does it. Again, customs are something like, for example, customs like making biryani on Friday, making sheer korma on the first day of Eid. These are customs. These are something that people have made customary, right? So it should happen. This is something that you should do. It's become like that. So these are happy examples that I'm giving you, but there are also very sad examples of that. For example, in customs, there's like a woman shouldn't work, so that is a customary thing of the Asian society. So beliefs is something, what you believe in, that's basic. Okay, so for example, if you believe in Quran, so that's beliefs, that will come under beliefs. If you believe in namaz, if you believe in the existence of mosques, that is all belief. So I'm speaking from a Muslim perspective because I know most of that. Then there's knowledge. Obviously knowledge varies from country to country, from culture to culture. So on our knowledge may be with more ways that connect with us, compared to, we might not know a lot about, let's say, Aramco. Why? Because it's a Saudi thing, right? We might not know a lot about let's say Donald Trump. Why? Because we don't know him, right? So all of, again, knowledge from the miniature of things to the maximum of things. Then we've got skills. Obviously in our skills would be, let's say for example, even if we talk about import and export, our skills would lie in cotton, our skills would lie in harvesting, our skills would lie in farming. Compared to let's say Malaysia, their skills would lie in making tea. They make amazing tea. I don't know, like they grow amazing tea, like their tea is like great, right? Or like China, fishing is like a huge thing there. It's like a whole industry. So all of those things, again, these are factors. These are things that exist in a culture, which is a whole way of life. These are things that are a way of life that vary from society to society. Are we clear?
There, yes.
Okay, so they've given us an example. For example, roast guinea pig is a traditional delicacy in Ecuador, while guinea pigs are often kept as family pets in the UK. And compared to us, we cannot eat guinea pigs. So look how it's differentiated between society to society. Um, they've given us smoking example as well. Then we've got values. So values are ideas and beliefs that people have about what is desirable and what is worth striving for. So again, this is something that it's like a people's thing, that what people think is right or wrong. So it's like what people think should be done. what people think is desirable. So they've given us the examples here. So people think that it's desirable to, let's say, study a lot. So that is something that is that society's values just because the people think it's desirable, just because the people think it's valued. That is why it's become a society's value. So values are very cross culturally, which means that they differ from one culture to another. In Western societies, for example, wealth and material possessions are often highly valued and considered worth striving for. In contrast, the patch of North America gave away the property of relatives who died rather than inherited. So again, this is an example that they've given. So for they're saying that for Western societies, wealth might be really important compared to North American societies where it doesn't matter that much. Norms are some guidelines for conduct which have become normal, right? So for example, opening a door for somebody, holding the door for somebody, giving tip in a restaurant, all of these are norms. They are not something that you have to do. They are like the police won't take you away for them, but because they are considered the right thing to do, because they are so normalized, because they are guidelines for your conduct, for your behavior, you do them. Are we understanding the difference?
Yes.
Okay. So they're saying that norms are enforced by positive and negative sanctions. So as I said, that when you're looking at norms, they aren't rules or regulations, they aren't policies, they aren't the law, which is why they are not formally enforced. The police won't come and be like, hold the door open for this lady. Okay, hold the door, open the door for your, if you're a chauffeur, your police won't come and be like, you open the door for your, who your master. But they are still enforced by positive and negative sanctions, which means positive sanctions are punishment, or sorry, rewards, and negative sanctions are punishments. So for example, if you are asking a person, if you're asking a kid to hold the door for their teacher, you will you will reward them through positive sanctions. So if they do that, you might just give them a lollipop. Negative sanctions would be that you were told, tell them off, you'll be like, okay, get out of the room, you're not allowed here anymore, because they were not doing what was right. So again, positive sanctions rewarding the behavior that is right, negative sanctions punishing the behavior that is right. That is what norms are, how norms are enforced, how you teach people the norms of society. Are we clear?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to stop here. We're going to start from here, and I'm going to figure out the book, and I'm going to figure out the paper pattern, make sure that it's the same thing. And yeah, we're going to continue then. Make
Okay,
sense?
great. Thank you.
Thank you. Allah Hafiz.
Hafiz.